It's almost Christmas, and I don't really want to talk about all of the crazy, ridiculous news happening around the world. So today on the show, we're doing something a whole lot more fun, ranking my top 8 Christmas movies of all time, ending with one of the greatest movies of any genre ever created. Don't go anywhere. You guys are going to want to see this. We are officially less than a week out from Christmas. So this is something I've done for the last few years, and I thought it would be fun to do on the show today with you guys. I'm all snuggled up in my Christmas jammies. I've got the world's best cup of coffee. Congratulations, everybody, sitting here with me in the studio. And we are about to break down objectively, because I am the arbiter of truth, obviously, the greatest Christmas movies of all time. Now, my team has asked me to give them my favorite movies in no particular order. And honestly, my order sometimes changes. It does. So I don't know where we're going to go with this, but I do know where we're going to end. So we'll get to that with the greatest Christmas movie ever made. First, though, I need to share something that apparently needs repeating because some of you heathens disagree with this, and there's something psychologically wrong with you. Do we remember the TikTok audio from early TikTok, like peak COVID TikTok? She needs some serious psychological evaluation. That's you, all of you who claim to like the Polar Express. Before I even get into the greatest Christmas movies of all time, according to me, which is objectively true, it is also objectively true that The Polar Express is a creepy horror movie. I've said this on the show already this Christmas season, but it bears repeating because some of you have come after me. Animation style, creepy, okay? It's like I'm watching something out of a bad nightmare that I can't wake up from. The one where you're like, I know I'm dreaming, but I need to wake up and I just can't make myself get there. Creepy. Actual storyline, creepy. Tom Hanks running a train by himself with no parents around, picking up children from their homes in the middle of the night with weird hobo man trying to hang out with you all the time. No, creepy, creepy, creepy. The Polar Express sucks. The book is great. The movie is terrible. We will not be watching that in the Belcher family household around Christmas time, and my daughter will not grow up thinking that The Polar Express is this lovely, warm, feel-good movie. The score is beautiful. The book is great. The movie gives haunted horror vibes, and I will die on this hill. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, I want to share with you my favorite Christmas movies of all time, and we will end with the objectively greatest Christmas movie, if not like top 3 greatest movie ever made. And I think you guys, if you've been following me for longer than 5 minutes, will probably know where I'm going with that. But I have a love of Christmas and Christmas movies that far exceeds the average person. Not quite to the level of my middle sister, my sister Gabby, shout out Gabs, is obsessed with Christmas to like an unhealthy degree, actually. She doesn't celebrate Halloween. She dresses up in her Christmas pajamas on October 31st because that's the first night that Hallmark puts out their Christmas movies every year. My sister Gabby celebrates half Christmas, which is June 25th. She celebrates Christmas in July, which is July 25th. She watches Elf at least once a month. We just had her Christmas in New York bachelorette party extravaganza 2 weekends ago, and it was magical and so very fun. So I'm not quite at that level, but I do love me some good Christmas movies from really mid-November all the way through the end of the year. The only thing on TV, with the exception this year of Stranger Things, is a Christmas movie. My daughter is starting to fall in love with Christmas movies now that she's a little bit more aware of what she's watching every day, and it has been so much fun getting to share some of these with her already. And there are way too many amazing ones to choose from, but I've narrowed this down to like a top 7, top 8 situation that I've never actually ranked in order before, so this will be a challenge for me. And I want to start with one of my family's favorite Christmas movies of all time. This is probably my mom's favorite. We watch it every year. Interestingly, my husband Brock had never seen this movie until he was dating me, and we went to my family's Christmas the very first year we were ever dating in 2021, and my mom made him like immediately sit down and watch the movie because he had never seen it before. But it is a longtime classic and a longtime favorite, White Christmas. Love White Christmas. It is so timeless, so iconic. The choreography is amazing. The music is amazing. The storyline is so iconic. Would I say it's a top 5 Christmas movie? I don't know. And my mom is going to hate me for that. It's so good. Don't get me wrong. I love White Christmas. My sisters and I sing Sisters, Sisters all the time, all year long. But I'm going to put White Christmas at like a solid number 6. It's a great movie. I will go back to it year after year. I don't think it is in my top 5, which is objectively the top 5 of the world Christmas movies of all time. And that may be a hot take to some of you watching this. Don't hear that as me saying I hate White Christmas. It is truly one of the greatest movies ever made. Miracle on 34th Street, not the original, but the 1994. I know, also hot take. The original is great. The original is fantastic. It's timeless. It's amazing. But the Mara Wilson 1994 Miracle on 34th Street is magic. Like, it has this magic quality to it. It captures the beauty and the innocence of Christmas through a child's eyes so poignantly. I watch Miracle on 34th Street pretty much every Black Friday, if not Thanksgiving night, when I'm in the midst of my Thanksgiving food coma, because as you all know, it starts with the beautiful Thanksgiving Macy's Day Parade, which interestingly, they didn't call it Macy's in the 94 version. They called it Kohl's, C-O-L-E. I wonder why that reasoning came to be. I'm sure Macy's is regretting that now, not giving them the licensing to just call it Macy's, but obviously it's the Macy's Day Parade. And they capture this story of Santa Claus and this man who believes that he is Santa Claus. The world tells him that he's crazy for it. And he's trying to help this family, the top executive at Kohl's and her daughter, fall in love with Christmas and learn how to believe in something that's bigger than themselves, learn how to embrace optimism and joy and faith again, and find a little bit of magic in the season. And then the very best part of the movie, obviously, is the end, when they get to the court case part of all of this, where they're essentially trying to lock this man up in a mental institution, claiming that he is unfit to live in polite society because he's deranged. He clearly believes that he is Santa Claus and that is not normal behavior. We need to lock this person up. And they make the most beautiful legal argument. I love lawyer movies. I'm the daughter of 2 lawyers. I got into law school, decided not to go. But I love a good lawyer movie. And I think this actually might be my favorite legal scene in any legal movie ever, which is saying something because we love legal movies. A Few Good Men comes to mind, and many others. But they make the argument that if the United States government can put their faith in God on our very currency, with the dollar bill that's delivered to the judge in the Christmas card, by saying, "In God we trust," then the government, therefore the law, and the justice system cannot determine whether this man is or is not Santa Claus, and we can all believe. And the whole country rallies together to all believe in something bigger than themselves. Of course, then he brings all of the Christmas wishes to come to fruition for the beautiful little girl in the story, Susan, who asks for a dad and a house and a baby brother for Christmas, all of which ends up coming to light for Christmas morning. It is so heartwarming. It is so beautiful, and I think really reinforces the positive reason why we still do Santa in society. I know that's controversial. That'll be our episode for Monday, I promise, why so many people aren't doing Santa. But it helps people believe in something bigger than themselves, which of course is connected to God as well. Miracle on 34th Street, 1994 edition. Woo! This is really hard. This is really hard. This might be a hot take. I'm going to put at number 5. It is a classic. It's iconic. I watch it every single year without fail. I cry every single year without fail multiple times in the movie. I mean, when Santa is doing ASL to the deaf girl, I mean, if you're not crying at that, there's something seriously wrong with you. It is a solid top 5 Christmas movie of all time, and I will die on that hill. All right, what's next? Here we go. Now we're getting into some really, really, really hot takes. Tim Allen as the Santa Claus. This is personally one of my favorite movies ever created, even outside of the Christmas genre. I have never seen an actor. I think this was also 1994, wasn't it? It might have been the same year. I'm going to have our beautiful producer Jess check on that for me. I'm 99% sure it was also 1994. I know it was mid-90s. Tim Allen captures the whimsy and the whimsical nature of children believing in Santa Claus. It is also 1994. Nice. Well done. Captures the whimsical magic of what it means to believe in Santa as a little kid, unlike any modern actor I've ever seen. There have been a lot of modern Christmas movies that are good. Like they're pretty good, and I count modern as like 90s on, probably, that are good. But Tim Allen has the the joy and the magic and the symbolism, unlike any modern actor portraying Santa ever. Charlie, who we watch grow up through all of the Santa Claus movies, is perfect for the role when he's a little boy in the first one, when he's a naughty, rebellious teenager in the second one and the third one. It is so fun to watch this family grow up and learn how to fall in love with magic again, to see him go to the North Pole and interact with the beauty of Christmas, that it's not just about toys. Obviously, he works for the toy company before he becomes Santa, but is about the magic and the beauty of Christmas, helping rekindle his family after what they start the story with is a really nasty divorce where like mom and dad can't even be in the same room together, but through believing in something bigger than themselves, believing is seeing, it's also loving, and he learns how to fall in love with his family again. They welcome in Neil. Neil is like the most iconic random stepdad character ever in TV or movie history, with his ugly sweaters that are actually so cool. I wish I owned all of them and I wish I could wear them throughout the holiday season. I love the Santa Claus. And even though the CGI was very rudimentary, even though all the animation was very, very early, and some people might struggle to watch that today in the year of our Lord 2025, where anything and everything is CGI, the practicality of the sets, of the reindeer, of the elf costumes, of everything, that it's not CGI, is part of the reason I love this movie even more. And maybe it's just me, I say this every year, but Tim Allen actually like weirdly reminds me of my dad in many ways. I think that's probably true for a lot of people in America, but Tim Allen and my dad are very similar people. In fact, my dad has said for years that the show that was later canceled because it was too racy and too out there for the woke mafia, Last Man Standing, was actually about him, because he has 3 daughters and lives in Denver, and we go to Bass Pro Shops all the time. So he loved that show. We have fallen in love with Tim Allen over and over and over again as a family, but his best role by far, way better than Last Man Standing, way better than Home Improvement, way better than Toy Story, is Santa in the Santa Claus. I actually still have yet to watch the Disney Plus series, The Santa Clauses. Is that what it's called? It just came out a few years ago, and it's like now everybody's all grown up, and his new children that he had with his beautiful wife Carol are starting to grow up. They're in their teenage years, and I think he's trying, from what I've seen, to figure out who's going to take over the family business and who's going to be Santa. Will it be Charlie? Will it be his other son? Who knows? I'm dying to watch that. I just haven't had any time to sit down and watch it yet, but I love the Santa Claus. I, in fact, watched it last night with my daughter. This, for me, oh, this is really controversial. This is really controversial. I put it number 3. I do. I'm sorry. You guys might hate me for that. You might not think it warrants that level of cinematic masterpiece, but it is. It is so good. And I challenge you, if you are upset with me for ranking Tim Allen as the Santa Claus as the number 3 greatest Christmas movie of all time, you probably haven't watched it in a while. Go back and watch it, because it means so much more even as an adult. To see his wrestling with, how do I as a grown-up learn how to believe in something bigger than myself and not be afraid of magic and whimsy and joy, to the degree that my son is embracing all of this. What can we as crusty, angry, grumpy grown-ups learn from the magic of children? It's perfect. Like, there's no notes for this movie whatsoever. I absolutely love it. Please go watch it tonight if you are mad at my ranking. Back to all of my movie brilliance in just a second. But first, I want to talk about something that's hit me really hard after becoming a mom, especially around the holidays and wanting to have a million more years just like this one. I have realized that every decision I make about my health is not just about me anymore. It's about showing up for Isla and all of my future children, being present for their milestones, and having the energy to keep up with them for decades to come. That is a totally different kind of perspective on my health. But here's the problem. Our healthcare system is built to be reactive. You wait until something is really wrong, and then you try to fix it. So when you want to take a proactive approach, it can be really hard to know where to even start. That is exactly why I've been so excited to be partnering with our friends at Jevity. They make proactive health easier than ever. Jevity offers different membership tiers so that you can choose what fits your needs. You get comprehensive at-home blood draws, testing over 100 different health markers, way beyond what your standard checkup ever covers. They have personalized health plans with custom supplement protocols, access to functional longevity specialists for ongoing ongoing guidance, plus discounts on supplements and specialty testing if you should need it moving forward. We are trying really hard to model for our daughter what it looks like to be really upfront and proactive about our perspective on health, taking care of ourselves now so that we don't have to wait for something to go really wrong. And as you guys embrace that same type of leadership models in your own family or your own home, or even if you don't have children, but you want to take more ownership of your health, Gevity is the way to go. It is now available in 47 states across the country. So if you are ready to be there for the people that you love, not just today, but for decades to come, you guys can use code Isabel at the link in today's show notes for 20% off, because investing in your health now means so much more time with the people who matter the most. All right, another Christmas movie making some headlines this week because a lot of people are shocked by its religious undertones is Home Alone. Now, this may be a hot take. I love Home Alone. It's a great movie. I don't find it a top 5 Christmas movie. And I know you guys are going to yell at me. You're all going to scream, but let's remind ourselves this is objectively the greatest ranking of Christmas movies the world has ever known. I love Home Alone. Don't get me wrong. I was at the Plaza Hotel a few weeks ago, very, very briefly in their little lobby shop to buy my daughter some Eloise at Christmas time things. And they had a whole little setup of Kevin McAllister at the Plaza for Home Alone 2. I saw a TikTok video of a real estate listing of the actual Home Alone house in Chicago, and somebody ruined it. By the way, all of the whimsy and character and charm of this home that we all fell in love with watching Home Alone is gone. It's just like a soulless millennial gray box now on the inside, which is incredibly sad. But the rumor is somebody has purchased it and they plan to restore it to what it originally was in the 1990s. Home Alone is iconic. It's adorable. I have my problems with this movie. No mother in their right mind, no matter how many children you have running around, would ever forget their child all the way through the airport when you're sitting on the airplane. Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe it's just because I'm a mom now. That is so not in the realm of possibility. No good mom would ever find herself sitting on a plane to another country and then going, oh, Kevin! It's cute. It's iconic. We love quoting it, but it's so unrealistic that I have a hard time wrapping my head around it a little bit, but it is very, very cute. It's very quotable. We quote Home Alone all the time. Why I really love Home Alone is actually the religious undertones of this movie. People have somewhat forgotten about this in the last couple of years, and yet all of a sudden it's making a huge resurgence on social media that it turns out Home Alone is kind of like a Catholic movie. Who knew? It's so shocking. I know. Not overtly necessarily, but in the component when Kevin takes himself to church on Christmas Eve and he's talking with his neighbor and he's embracing the true meaning of Christmas, falling in love with his faith, and wrestling with being alone and how do I find solace that I'm not really alone? I always have God. It is such a poignant, powerful message, not judging a book by its cover when he's sitting there with his neighbor who he was convinced is like a shovel massacre serial killer, but actually is an incredibly soft, kind man, and learning how to find the common shared humanity in one another. Ooh, it's so good. Plus, how many of us didn't have nightmare level fuel about what it meant to have that level of booby traps in your house when you were a kid? We dreamed of being able to set them. We had nightmares over what it would be like to be faced with hot irons to your face and falling on toys and being smacked in the face with shovels, all of it. It was so whimsical, so crazy, so outlandish that we all fell in love with this movie when we were kids. I love Home Alone. It is not a top 5 Christmas movie for me. I think I would put it at a solid number 7. I love it. It's a great film. I will watch it every year. It's not the greatest Christmas movie of all time. But there is a great that's out there. One that inspired my sister's Christmas in New York bachelorette extravaganza. A few weekends ago, we treated my sister Gabby, because she rarely gets time off for medical school, to a bachelorette weekend about 6 months before her actual wedding. She's getting married next June. And it was all inspired by her favorite movie, Elf. My sister watches this movie every single month of her life, at least once a month. I don't know how she's not tired of it up to this point, but she absolutely loves it. And how could she not? Because Elf is arguably the greatest modern Christmas movie ever made. It is so timeless. It transcends every genre. Every generation finds it absolutely hilarious, heartwarming, a poignant message. It hits every single note perfectly, whether it's Will Ferrell just being stupid and running around with no plan, which, by the way, fun fact, is what happened when he's just running around New York and like eating gum off the subway stair rail, or he's jumping between all of the crosswalk steps, or he runs up to the guy in the red sweatsuit and goes, Santa, Santa, not Santa, when he's running through the revolving door. All of these things were not planned. The camera crew literally just said to Will Ferrell, go run around and be insane. Like, improv this in New York. So timeless, so funny. But what I love about Elf is, again, it captures that same spirit of the Santa Claus, where it's crusty old angry grown-ups learning how to fall in love with beauty, with magic, and believing in something bigger than themselves. Again, it's obviously presented much more through an adult comedic lens than the Disney Santa Claus Tim Allen style, which is still quite magical. But what I love about Elf is that it doesn't matter if you're 99 years old or you're 1 year old or even younger. My daughter loved Elf the other day when we watched it. Everyone loves this movie. It is probably the most quotable movie of all time. I watched a video on TikTok of a 1-year-old who barely learned how to talk recently, who after watching Elf one time was singing, I'm here with my dad and we've never met and he wants me to sing him a song. People dress up as Elf for Halloween. People watch Elf in the summertime. It is so good. So funny. And I would consider Elf to be my number 2 Christmas movie of all time. It is incredible. It is hilarious. It's whimsical. It's fun. It is a hit every single time you watch it. No arguments. All of you agree. You might not call it your top 2, but all of you agree it is one of the greatest movies ever created. I'm going to go next to one of my favorite videos or movies that I watched when I was growing up as a kid. One of my favorite Christmas movies ever is really underrated. And a lot of people have never actually seen it because no one in the modern age really watches this movie, I guess. But if we zoom back to the era of Rudolph and other similar movies made by claymation animation, there is an incredible underrated film that more of you need to watch. This is your homework from Isabel, from the Isabel Brown Show this Christmas. That is always been one of my favorites. It's always been one of our family's favorites. My sister, my Christmas loving sister, dressed up as one of these characters for Halloween one year in high school. It is called The Year Without a Santa Claus. If you are unfamiliar with the movie, so funny, so iconic, and very different from the vast majority of Christmas movies that are just distinctly about Santa. This movie, The Year Without a Santa Claus, is circulating the idea of what if Santa just got bored one year and doesn't really want to do the whole Christmas thing. He's kind of over it. He's stuck in his same routine. He doesn't feel well. He's feeling like he's getting too old for this. So he really isn't in the movie very much at all. The vast majority of the movie centers around some elves that are Santa's like right-hand men, 2 different elves that help him accomplish his goals every year in delivering presents to all of the children around the world. Mrs. Claus takes on a huge role in this movie. The reindeer take on a pretty big role, and everybody's fan favorite in The Year Without a Santa Claus, the heat miser and the snow miser, the people who control the weather, who are brothers. Their mother is Mother Nature, and these brothers, the heat miser and the snow miser, hate each other's guts. They are mortal enemies, and they are constantly battling each other for control over the weather. So Mrs. Claus has to go to the heat miser camp and the snow miser camp and try to create like this peace summit between the miser brothers to make sure that it snows on Christmas, because that might help people want Santa to keep coming and to keep the magic and joy of Christmas alive. If you've ever heard the I'm Mr. Snow Miser, those songs, that comes from these movies. So funny, so amazing. The animation style can be hard for people to watch if you're really into like modern CGI and you don't love the retro claymation thing. I personally love that. It's so nostalgic and reminds me of my childhood and wishing I was still a little kid. And I think Year Without a Santa Claus 100% is a top 10 Christmas movie. I would put it solidly at number 8. It is an old movie. I don't know if the story writing necessarily would hold up to the level of dialogue that you might expect from a movie that comes out in 2025, but it is a timeless classic. It hits every single time you watch it. And I'm actually kind of shocked as I'm growing up as an adult. Most of my friends have never seen this movie. They did not grow up watching this movie. My husband had never seen this movie until he met me. wow, his scorecard looks really, really sad as I am watching all of this back. He had never seen White Christmas. He had never seen The Year Without a Santa Claus. We're working on his move-vacation throughout our marriage, okay? We're almost 5 years into our relationship now. So we're getting there. We're getting there. But I would put this at number 8. It is a must-watch every single Christmas. And if you guys haven't seen it yet, you absolutely need to. We've got 2 slots left on the rankings list, number 1 and number 4. And I'm going to leave number 1 for last, and you know exactly where I'm going with it. But Jim Carrey as the Grinch in How the Grinch Stole Christmas, top 5 Christmas movie. We're putting it at number 4, 100%. I love Dr. Seuss, have always loved Dr. Seuss. I love pretty much every Dr. Seuss story that they have turned into a movie, and I love that our generation is like re-falling in love with Dr. Seuss as grown-ups. How on God's green earth the Lorax became like the number 1 trend on TikTok this year, I have no idea. And more power to you ladies all dressing up as the Lorax for every single celebration of your lives. I saw a video the other day that a girl was proposed to while wearing her Lorax costume, which makes me so happy because I love the Lorax. Great movie. Horton Hears a Who was one of my favorites growing up. The animated version is so amazing. But there's nothing that beats Jim Carrey as the Grinch. This poor man had to go through literal, like physical and psychological torture in order to get into his makeup every day. He's given many interviews about it, that it took 7+ hours every single day of hair and makeup prep to transform him into the Grinch. And he actually had to speak with survivors of literal torture, like former prisoners of war and CIA level experts, to help him not feel like he was actually being tortured while he was getting into the garb every day. But there is something so unique, so special, and so funny about Jim Carrey's portrayal of the Grinch. It obviously has inspired countless different cultural iconic moments as a result of it. How many of us don't quote the Grinch's schedule whenever we possibly can? 4:30, wallow in self-pity, stare into the abyss, but what will I wear? We quote this all the time in my family. If you go to Universal Studios these days around Christmas time, they have not Go Meet Santa, but they have a whole Meet the Grinch situation in their Dr. Seuss land, and that dominates even pop culture now on social media. Max as the reindeer. I mean, could your heart just explode with this little dog that could, and he just wants to help his owner so bad. It's the sweetest form of selfless love. The Grinch's heart growing 3 times because he all of a sudden understands what life is all about, that it can't be hyper narcissism. It can't be all about me all the time. It's so easy and so tempting when you are wronged by other people, when you are slighted by your community, when you feel like an outcast and you are othered by the people that you desperately want to seek acceptance from. It is so easy for us to retreat into human nature and retreat into hyper narcissism. And I think we see that in society in 8 million different ways every single day. That fuels a lot of the cultural conversations that we have here on the Isabel Brown Show every day. But what life is all about is not what you are getting. It's not what you are stealing. It's not what you are receiving from other people. What joy and love and life is about is in what you give to other people. And watching the Grinch walk through that experience in real time is such a beautiful reminder of what life is all about and what human nature really means in terms of love. That love is service, love is giving, love is making other people joyful and happy, not in what we receive or in what we take or steal from other people. For a kid's book, it is like the most deeply meaningful story of all time, and they captured the whimsy of it in live action, in this live action film of Jim Carrey's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, so beautifully. It is a must watch at least twice every Christmas season for us. Which brings us to, drumroll please, the greatest Christmas movie of all time, objectively speaking. And this is just true. I'm sorry. You can disagree with me, but you're wrong. That's just facts. It's a Wonderful Life is the greatest Christmas movie of all time. It's a Wonderful Life, interestingly, is also kind of in the news cycle right now because a lot of people are resurfacing other commentators' takes on It's a Wonderful Life over the past few years, including our Daily Wire's own Ben Shapiro. I have a much different take on It's a Wonderful Life than Ben, but he would agree it is the greatest Christmas movie ever made. And I think generally our society loves this story so much because it has inspired so many other stories in the process. And really because it tells the story of humanity, of the fact that we matter, that we are created in the divine image of God, and that the world would not be the same without us. It kind of ties back to those same themes that we see in The Grinch, and watching how we give to other people rather than constantly wallowing in what we feel like we're missing out on, what we feel like we're not receiving from people. But life is about the gift of giving. It's a Wonderful Life is maybe one of the top 3 movies ever made in human history, and has inspired countless other movies along the same circumstances. The more modern adaptation of all of this with Nicolas Cage, my mom is obsessed with, called The Family Man. It's a great movie if you've never seen that one either. That's the more like 1990s, early 2000s version of It's a Wonderful Life. But in case you've never seen it, which means you're living under a rock, before you watch any other movie on this list, today, you're going to go watch this because it's free to watch on Amazon Prime. But I wanted to highlight some of my favorite scenes in this movie with you and react to them together, because truly it is the most powerful reminder on how to recenter ourselves around faith, around family, and around our communities this holiday season. It must be painful for some of you to know that I'm always right about everything, including ranking of the movies. But I'm also right about this. I am a huge advocate of making important decisions in day-to-day life, and the same goes for making our decisions about our healthcare. It is open enrollment season right now, and insurance companies are betting that you're just going to auto-renew without asking any questions. But you are so much smarter than that, because you listen to this show and to me. If you are tired of overpriced premiums and really confusing fine print in your healthcare, there is such a better way out there. Today, our friends at Crowd Health are so excited to tell you about their community where people fund each other's medical bills directly. No middlemen, no networks, no nonsense, so you can stop playing the insurance game to actually take control of your healthcare. With Crowd Health, you get healthcare coverage for under $100 a month, and that is not some bare bones plan with a million different exceptions. That actually includes access to a dedicated team of health bill negotiators who fight on your behalf, discounted prescriptions and lab tests that actually save you money over the long term, and a vetted database of affordable, high-quality doctors handpicked by Crowd Health. If something really major happens, you only pay the first $500, and then the Crowd steps in to fund the rest of your medical expenses. It's honestly what healthcare used to feel like before everything got way too overcomplicated by a bunch of corporate middlemen. It's a real community of people who actually want to help each other with unexpected medical events. You are not just another policy number in some faceless corporation's database. So far, Crowd Health members have saved over $40 million in healthcare expenses because they simply refuse to overpay for care. The system is counting on you to stay stuck in the same overpriced, overcomplicated mess year after year after year. Do not give them the satisfaction. You guys know I've talked about this a lot. In 2021, around the holidays, I had a really major kidney surgery, and one of the leading top 5 insurance companies in our country called me the night before to say that they weren't going to cover it because it was an unnecessary procedure. Tell that to my then failing kidney. It was so unbelievably frustrating, and ever since then, it's been really interesting trying to learn the ins and outs of the insurance big conglomerates, because these people are not really interested in putting you first. But this enrollment, you can take your power back and find people who actually care about you as a person. Join Crowd Health today to get started for $99 for your first 3 months using code Isabel at joincrowdhealth.com. That is joincrowdhealth.com, code Isabel. Just a disclaimer for your own knowledge, Crowd Health is not an insurance. You can opt out of insurance to take your power back. This is how we win. Join crowdhealth.com. So, in case you don't remember, It's a Wonderful Life is centered around the story of a young man named George Bailey, who is portrayed by Jimmy Stewart. Very underrated actor, by the way. Jimmy Stewart develops a really big depth to his acting ability here in this movie that isn't often mirrored in other movies. He's usually like the big goofball, the class clown, the comedian, but here he portrays a pretty dark story at the beginning of the movie. George Bailey has a life, really a whole life throughout his entire childhood and adolescent years and going into his young adult years, full of hardship and trouble. Right at the beginning of the film, there's a whole scene where he and his brother are ice skating on a frozen pond, but it's not fully frozen through, and so his brother falls through and almost drowns. George saves his brother's life, which is incredibly miraculous, but he injures himself in the process, and he goes deaf in one ear, which is a whole thing because he cannot serve in the military while his brother can. And he was looking forward to this experience to go overseas, to experience new cultures, to travel all over the world, and he feels like he's missing out on that and becomes a bit jaded through the process. By the time he is graduating from high school, and we fast forward a little bit through his adolescent years, he wants to drop everything to not go work for his family's loan business at the bank, but instead to go be a world traveler and experience all kinds of exciting new lives and adventures and getting out of his hometown. His brother comes home and announces that he's getting married and is moving away. So all of a sudden he is stuck in his hometown having to deal with his family business, having to help his father, who is getting older and in poor health, take care of the community through their family savings and loan business. And unexpectedly at his high school graduation, he falls in love with a beautiful woman named Mary. He is so sweet to Mary. And one of my favorite scenes toward the beginning of the movie is when they're coming home from their high school graduation party and the big town blowout of helping all of them graduate, and he's courting her to date him. It is so nostalgic, so beautiful, and this is exactly the type of man that I feel like sadly is going extinct in 2025 or has gone largely extinct. There are still some good ones out there, but tell me every young woman doesn't yearn for this type of romance in her life, right?
You should have seen the commotion in that locker room. I had to knock down 3 people to get this stuff we're wearing here. Let me hold that old wet dress of yours.
Do I look as funny as you do?
I guess I'm not quite the football type. You look wonderful. You know, if it wasn't me talking, I'd say you were the prettiest girl in town.
Well, why don't you say it?
Well, I don't know. Maybe I will say it. How old are you anyway?
18.
18? Why, it was only last year you were 17.
Too young or too old?
Oh, no. Just right. Your age fits you.
I mean, how sweet is this, right? He's so enamored by her. He's complimentary of her. He's holding her things. He's walking her home. There's just this level of gentlemanly behavior that I feel like we just don't see in modern history anymore, which is so sad. And here's where he basically convinces her to fall in love with him. They're walking by an abandoned house that is not taken care of at all, but is really beautiful. The skeleton of it is really, really spectacular. And she shares with him that it's like her dream to fix up this house and renovate it.
Okay, then I'll throw a rock at the old Granville house.
Oh, no, don't. I love that old house.
No, you see, you make a wish and then try and break some glass in. You got to be a pretty good shot nowadays, too.
Oh,
Now,
no,
watch.
George, don't. It's full of romance, that old place. I'd like to live in it.
In that place?
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't live in as a ghost. Now, watch. It's right in the second floor there, see?
What'd you wish, George?
Well, not just one wish, a whole hatful. Mary, I know what I'm going to do tomorrow and the next day and next year and a year after that. I'm shaking the dust of this crummy little town off my feet, and I'm going to see the world. Italy, Greece, the Parthenon, the Colosseum. Then I'm coming back here and go to college and see what they know. And then I'm going to build things. I'm going to build airfields. I'm going to build skyscrapers 100 stories high. I'm going to build bridges a mile long. What, you going to throw a rock? Hey, that's pretty good. What'd you wish, Mary?
Buffalo gals, can't you come?
Of course, Mary refuses to answer what she's actually wishing for because she doesn't want him to go experience all of these things out and about and have this grand life. She wants him to fall in love with her, build a life there in their hometown together of Bedford Falls. And as we later find out, that's exactly what ends up happening. His brother is getting married and moving away, and he wants to help his brother have that experience. His father's health is failing, and he's getting a lot older, and all of a sudden, the family business is starting to be in ruins. So George Bailey offers to put all of his plans for his life aside and to help the people in his life who love him accomplish their dreams. His father's business, the family building and loan, the savings and loan of the Bailey family, is threatening to be bought out by Mr. Potter, who is this very predatory, evil businessman in Bedford Falls. All he cares about is personal financial gain. He has no sense of service to the greater community, and he wants to buy out this other bank, essentially, so that he can control all of the financial success of the community. They say no to that. George Bailey says, I will stay behind and run my father's business. I won't go gallivant all over the world and have all of these adventures or go to college. I'm just going to work here and make sure that my family's business stays afloat. It is a very trying experience to do that. They go through financial crisis over and over and over again, and eventually they kind of come to a position where the family business is failing. They're completely broke. They're out of money. He has no idea what to do, and he doesn't know how he's going to provide for his wife and his beautiful children anymore. And there's also this like side piece girl character that keeps flirting with him, who's like the interesting girl in town that is outside of his marriage, and that's starting to be a little bit interesting, but he ends up coming home and has to explain to his wife, I don't know how we're going to survive this. I think our family business is going to fail. We are completely out of money. I don't know what to do. And there's this really powerful part of the movie where he goes upstairs and he's hugging his children and he's looking at his wife and he's saying, I'm out of ideas. I think this is it. I don't know how I'm going to provide for you anymore.
Spot right there. Isn't it wonderful about Harry? Well, famous, George. Bet I had 50 calls today about the parade, the banquet. Your mother's so excited.
I mean, he's just falling apart, right? It's so powerful because he's having to look at his children in the eyes and realize, I don't know how I'm going to provide for my family. When I see this scene, it means something different to me every year, but I think this year in particular, especially as new parents and navigating all of the ups and downs of new parenting and the different ways that we see our family as mom versus dad, as a woman versus a man, as a wife versus a husband, it just goes to reinforce to me as a woman that I will have no earthly realm of idea what the pressure of being the man and the head of the house and providing for the family ever is. I don't have that experience. Similarly, my husband doesn't understand why I experience certain things as mom and the way that I care for our daughter and the way that I look at her. But I think he just captured this through the screen so poignantly that the family is resting on his shoulders. This is his responsibility, and he is out of ideas. He's out of options. This ends up escalating to the point that he feels the only way that he can possibly move forward is to take his own life. So he visits the town bridge over the river, the freezing cold river, on Christmas Eve, and he attempts to jump off. He does jump off the bridge and lands in the river. It's unbelievably hauntingly sad and very, very dark. But once he jumps off the bridge, there is someone who comes to his aid, a man by the name of Clarence, who turns out to be an angel and saved his life on purpose, but gives George Bailey a glimpse into what life would look like had he never existed, had he actually been dead, but never had existed in the first place, that his children never would have been born, his marriage never would have happened, the family business would have folded long ago, and even the name of the town is changed away from Bedford Falls to Pottersville because of the villain, extreme capitalist, money-hungry guy who is trying to take over the local town and society. Watch this powerful scene with Clarence because I think this is really beautiful. I had misremembered that. Clarence jumps into the water instead of George. That's how this ends up happening. George is thinking about jumping into the river to kill himself, and Clarence ends up jumping in instead and then screams for help, and George goes in to help him. I had forgotten that. That's an even better detail. Oh my gosh, that's so good. They end up at a bar together, but you can see as he's thinking about jumping off this bridge, before I move on from this, the anguish that George Bailey is experiencing. Jimmy Stewart portrays this so powerfully, that he's going through the darkest thoughts that a human being could ever be confronting, that there is literally no other option except for me to end my own life. I need to kill myself right now. And all of a sudden he's jolted back to reality when Clarence, the angel, although he doesn't know that yet, jumps into the river instead, and he has to do what life is all about. He has to help someone else, not put himself first. They end up at a bar to warm up after the fact, and Clarence explains to him, I am an angel. And George essentially says, I wish I had never existed. And Clarence is like, I'm going to take care of that for you. Watch this.
I think maybe you better not mention getting your wings around here. But
Why, don't they believe in angels?
yeah, I believe.
Oh, why should they be surprised when they see one?
He never grew up. He's how old are you anyway, Clarence?
293, next May.
That does it. Out you two pixies go, through the door or out the window.
Look, Nick, what's wrong?
No, that's another thing. Where do you come off calling me Nick?
Well, Nick, that's your name.
What's that got to do with it? I don't know you from Adam's off.
So he's finding out in real time that people that he's known for his entire life, the bartender has no idea who he is, has no idea that this man has ever existed, is a total stranger to them because he's not George Bailey anymore. There was no George Bailey ever. The town isn't even Bedford Falls, the town that he lives in. And Clarence, in his cheeky, fun way of saying, I'm an angel, I'm almost 300 years old, is exposing him to this glimpse that the whole town is falling apart without him. As I mentioned, the name of the town changes to Pottersville instead of Bedford Falls because of the villain. The house that he lived in and fixed up with his family is still in ruins. That's a really powerful experience when he goes to see that for the first time. And then it clicks for him. Mary, my wife, whatever happened to her? She never got married. She was an old spinster woman and was lonely and jaded and miserable herself.
Is this the place?
Of course it's the place.
Well, this house ain't been lived in for 20 years.
What's up, Ernie?
I don't know, but we better keep our eye on this guy. He's bats.
Mary! Mary! Tommy! Petey, Janie, Susan, where are you?
They're not here, George. You have no children.
Where are they? What have you done?
All right, put up your hands. No fast moves. Come on out here, both of you.
Bert! Thank heaven you're here.
Back there.
Bert, what's happened to this house? Where's Mary? Where's my kids?
Watch him, Bert.
Now,
Bert,
come on,
Ernie,
come on.
what's the matter with you?
While he goes out and he's looking for his wife, he comes to discover that his brother had never been saved from the ice skating accident when they were at the pond, when they were little kids. It's a horrible situation. His brother is dead, so he goes to the graveyard and finds his brother's grave. All of a sudden, he runs into Mary out in public, and she has literally no idea who he is. It's all very, very confusing to him, and it's miserable. And all of a sudden, he reconnects with Clarence and is like, this is not what life is supposed to be all about. He returns to the bridge where he was supposed to take his own life, and the glimpse is over. Clarence helps him to reconnect with his real life after he prays desperately, I want my life back. I know what life is all about now. It's about serving other people. It's not about me accomplishing my dreams, my ambitions, my personal adventure or success, but in serving the people that I love and getting to help other people wherever I possibly can. That it's not about ambition or success. Life is really about service and humility. The glimpse ends. They end up going back to their family home for a Christmas party. They all sing songs together. He reconnects with his family, and his business that was on the brink of financial collapse ends up receiving countless donations in cash from pretty much every single member of the community, who then they turn back around and reinvest in and help people to build their own homes, to have their own financial success, and to do this like bottom up service level business model from the family savings and loan to help people have their own American dream in the future. The ending is so powerful, is so beautiful, and really reinforces that life is about people. Life is about service. Life is about giving of yourself to others rather than in what you take and receive. I mentioned there have been some hot takes circulating around this particular movie the last few days on social media, with people in particular pointing out our own Ben Shapiro's take from 2021 that if you're strictly looking at a financial sense, Potter, the bad guy, the villain, is actually the good guy because he has a shrewder business mind and is more keenly, acutely aware of how to financially succeed. This might be a hot take in me, and maybe I don't sound like a raging capitalist at this point, but it's been something I've been thinking about a lot lately, that ultimately, from a religious perspective, you guys know that I'm Catholic, the church teaches that completely unbridled socialism, Marxism, is evil and is bad for humanity. And similarly, completely unbridled capitalism is also bad for humanity, because capitalism only works if it is through the lens of benefiting humanity, of honoring the dignity of the human person, and in greater service to improving our communities. So for me, Mr. Potter is a through and through bad guy. And what I love about this story is it represents that America, at its finest, at its core, our very culture of the West is not just built on unbridled financial success and ambition and rugged individualism. Individualism in and of itself is a good thing because God made us all unique, made in his divine image, but we all have our own passions and interests and hobbies and vocations that God has called us to. So individualism at its outset is not a bad thing, but when we prioritize rugged individualism over love of other people and over service to our community, that is not a society that honors the dignity of the human person. Our lives matter because of what we give to others and the love that we experience in our marriages, in our families, in our communities, and in what we can do to help those who are truly marginalized and who do truly need our acts of service. It is such a powerful religious undertow. Obviously, it's an entire religious movie of recentering our entire existence on God, but it has the most poignant lesson of any movie that I have ever seen, truly. Just strictly from a storytelling perspective, it is the greatest movie script ever written and has inspired every single amazing movie in the same genre since then. I love It's a Wonderful Life. And I've just found out my sweet producer Jess, sitting over here, has never seen it except for the few clips that we have just now watched on the show today. So Jess, that's your homework, okay? She's gonna go watch it tonight. Now she knows how it ends. I know the ending really is the best part. And I'm not really spoiling a whole lot. I left a whole lot out. I mean, this is a really, really long movie. It's a 2 hour and 9 minute movie, which for then was actually quite a long film. But it is a beautiful portrayal of the human experience of sorrow, of narcissism, of having to navigate the sense of self versus your sense of service to others, the beauty of the family, and that children will bring you more joy and purpose than your job ever will. I mean, every timeless lesson that has built the West is in this movie. And if you've never had a chance to see it, this is your year. It's a Wonderful Life tops us out as the greatest Christmas movie of all time. I threw out earlier, and you may have been paying attention, that there's a big debate happening right now over whether Christian families should be doing Santa in their family homes around Christmas time this year. We are headed to AmFest. We will be in Phoenix, Arizona today. But we are recording something extra special over the weekend for you to have an interesting conversation back and forth on whether Santa is appropriate for Christian families to embrace as a tradition for our episode on Monday. Then we'll have some fun Christmassy content coming to you on Tuesday. But the rest of the week is off. Take the time to turn all of your devices off, go touch grass or hopefully snow, because we are always dreaming of a white Christmas, and spend time with the people that you love. Most importantly, spending time with God for this beautiful Christmas. Less than a week out, I'm praying for all of you to have a beautiful Christmas and cap off to your Advent season. And we will see you hopefully in Phoenix, Arizona today, but otherwise back on the show on Monday. God bless you guys.
What was it like, Merlin, to be alone with God?
Is that who you think I was alone with?
Merlin, I knew your father. I am yet convinced that he was not of this world.
All men know of the great Taliesin.
Who am I, Father, that the gods should war for my soul?
Princess Garrus, savior of our people.
I know what the bull god offered you. I was offered the same.
And?
There is a new power at work in the world. I've seen it. A god who sacrifices what he loves for us.
We are each given only one life, Singer.
No. We're given another.
I learned of Yezu the Christ, and I have become his follower.
He's waiting on a miracle, and I think you can give him one.
Trust in Yezu. He is the only hope for men like us.
Fate of Britain never rests in the hands of the great light.
Great light, great darkness. Such things mattered to me then.
What matters to you now, Mistress of Lies?
You, nephew. The
sword of a high king.
How many lives must be lost before you accept the power you were born to wield? Still clinging to the promises of a God who has abandoned you.
I cannot take up that sword again.
You know what you must do.
Great light, forgive me. The time has come to be reborn.